So, why would I use crochet as an art medium or any reason to be creative? Well, when I was in school, it was still the 70s when I started, and we were doing crafts. We didn't do knitting or crochet. We did things like where take we would tie little strings of yarn around a hanger, and then it was like a gift or something. We called it a duster. I don't know why we did that and not just like a flocked hanger which you could hang things on, it wouldn't fall off. But that's what we would do as a gift. And we would do regular art and painting and sand art. I don't know if anybody does sand art, but that was one of my favorites. And we would make ornaments on plaster Paris ornaments and color those in. We had a lot of fun doing different things, but I was always fascinated by using yarn. My mom had made a couple of blankets. She says it was one, I think it was two blankets, because I remember my grandmother having one and her having one, and they weren't the same blanket, but they were wool and itchy and everything. And then my mom would knit scarves for my brothers and me and my dad, and they were itchy. I hated mine because it was so itchy. But I mean, now I look at it as beautiful, but I remember being angry because it was so itchy, because it was old 70s wool, and old 70s wool is like way itchier than anything that they have that's of wool now. It's still itchy, it's still spicy, but it was so much itchier back then. But I'd be fascinated watching her knitting. She knit me a brown sweater. She met my brothers, different things. And then she was in the middle of knitting me a sweater when I was in sixth grade. So I would have been 11 or 12. And it was going to be like this not hot pink, but maybe kind of like about this color, pink and purple. And it was going to be striped. And she got the body of it made. But that was like the last knitting project she ever did. And I was just fascinated watching her do it. And I was like, I want to knit. I would love to do that. And so she had learned how to crochet and knit on her own, and she was doing it. And I always assumed that I would do it when I got older. And when I went to go ask her, hey, how do we do this? How do we knit? How do we crochet? Get a book. What's my answer? She didn't remember. So I really wanted to make it because I was already sewing. I'd sewn stuff on and off all my life, or as long as I could. My brother made me a skirt when I was in the first grade, and so I wanted to try sewing, and so I sewed things. I was in home ec. We learned sewing. We did a fashion show. They butchered my outfit because somebody it had like some logo on it. It was like an Esprit pattern in it, and I was so proud of it. It was peach and white, and it had a big Esprit logo that you could put on it, which was odd for one that I made. It was just it came with this logo that you got put on. They went and ironed it, and without my permission or anything, and it was way too hot, and it melted my little logo. So I was sad. So I had to present my outfit that I had made, spent so much time making, hours and hours of school time, and it was kind of destroyed. I don't even know what happened to it. I was really proud of it, and then got destroyed, and there was nothing you could do. It was big plastic melted logo on my shirt right in the front. But I kept sewing. I sewed for my kids. I was making stuff. I made costumes for them, and I made costumes for plays and dance, and so I was always busy with that stuff. But I was like, I want to do fiber arts. And so I taught myself how to knit unsuccessfully, but I did. And then I was just like, I'm tired of having so many open stitches. It was long before I knew how to do continental knitting, which is so much easier for somebody that likes to do crochet to go to. And I was fascinated with crochet, granny squares and stuff like that. I tried the first granny squares I did. I really didn't know what I was doing. I wish I had them, because in my class I always tell people, keep your stuff and so you can mark your progress. And I really wish I could see my first attempts and be like, and be shocked at how far I've come since I started, in my mid-20s. And so I was just really fascinated with it, and I kept with it, and I kept trying. And eventually started making hats and blankets. And I made two big blankets, one for my mom, one for my grandmother. And my mom still has hers. And I knit stuff for my grandmother, and I would make stuff for friends. I really didn't sell anything, but I made stuff for my kids and stuff for my friends. And it was a good friends and family. Family still get a lot of stuff that's crocheted, but it was just something that it feels so good to have something, one to do and one to create. And it's a constant create. You can sit anywhere. You can do it in car. You can do it if you're riding. You can do it in front of the TV, watching movies and things like that. It's something that you can be constantly creative, and you don't have to stop. You don't have to have a special place for it. You just have to have the stuff you need for the project you're doing. And I quickly learned how to do a shopping bag, memorized it. That was my first memorized pattern. I still know how to do it. I was using Fibonacci numbers to remember how to do it, and keep the pattern in my head. And I don't do that so much, but it was a way. It was a tool to keep me remembering how to do it. And that one is such an easy one to do, is V stitches. Practice with it until it looked the way I liked it. And that's really what advanced me as a crochet artist. And so I've just gone from there. I do some accessories. I do dolls. I do different things. And, I'm now getting smaller and smaller yarn and smaller hooks. And even after all this time, you have people that want to do it. Like from the beginning, I want to do everything. Slow down, learn to do one thing really good. And I promise you, if you learn one thing really good, it will all of a sudden, everything else will be like, oh, this makes more sense, that I know how it should feel. I know how it should look. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just enjoy the process. But if you learn that one thing really well, everything else actually will be much easier for you.